What's going on, YouTube? Standing man, back at y'all with another one, man. So look, Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz. That was a fight. That was a banger. That was a banger. So y'all know that fight happened tonight. And if you don't know, Lamont Roach did fight Pitbull Cruz to a decision. Now, I, it's definitely a controversial decision in my opinion, just because I feel like Pitbull Cruz. Look, this was a very great stylistic matchup for both of these guys. Lamont Roach is the kind of guy that will kind of, he can hit, like he likes to play on the outside. He likes to hit you with the range, hit you from a distance and use his range. But he is also a very good inside fighter as well. But Pitbull Cruz did have the inside advantage in this fight. I want to say Pitbull Cruz is the kind of fighter. Obviously, if you've ever seen him fight, he's gonna come out swinging. He's gonna come out banging. And tonight was no different. Tonight was no different. He came in and actually caught Lamont Roach with a lot. He caught Roach with a lot of great shots, with a lot of great hooks that he looped. Obviously, he swings and loops his hooks and stuff like that. He kind of reminds me of a Mike Tyson without the peekaboo style. Like, he kind of keeps his hands up. Obviously, he has that Mexican style where he keeps his hands up by his temples, and he kind of he goes. He's just gonna wait for you to throw a punch, and he's gonna try to counter you and clean you up off of that. So I feel like that's kind of what went on for the first 5 or 6 rounds, maybe. I want to say, but even still, like even though Pitbull was kind of getting off on Roach, and he actually gave Lamont Roach his first knockdown in his career, so he did make Roach suffer his first knockdown, and I think that was kind of cool just because of how just because, like, I mean, the guy is so small, but he packs so much power in his punches, man. He really reminds me of a Mexican Mike Tyson, to be honest with you. That's just my personal opinion. If I could compare him to any kind of fighter, that's pretty much who I would compare him to. But the problem is with Isak Cruz is that he has this habit of, once he feel like he hurts you, he just wants to kind of follow that same template and do the same thing he just did. So he ends up knocking down Lamont Roach, and it really wasn't even. If you watch the fight, it really wasn't a knockdown. It was more of he hit Lamont Roach, he hit Roach, caught him off guard. Roach backs back, gets, catches him off balance, and one of his gloves ends up just barely scraping the canvas, and they called that a knockdown. So of course he gets a standing 8 count, and that was definitely a 10-8 round for Isak Cruz. But the thing is Lamont Roach is one of the best fighters at sticking to his game plan. No matter what you do, he will not let you get him out of his game plan, and he is very skilled, and he is very great at just imposing his will. No matter what you throw at him, he's still going to impose his will. And I felt like he showed that against Gervonta Davis. And I personally had him winning the Gervonta Davis fight, even though they called it a draw. I can kind of respect that to a degree, even though they didn't give him the knockdown that he was supposed to get versus Gervonta Davis, because Davis took a knee that should have been a 10-8 round for Lamont Roach. But Lamont Roach goes and fights Isak Cruz, and Isak Cruz is, I don't want to say he's a tougher fight than Gervonta Davis, but he, he's definitely an annoying matchup. Like he's kind of a pest. Like I said, he has that Mexican style to where he'll put his hands on his temple, and he's just gonna meet you. He's gonna put his head right, dig his head dead in your chest, and he's gonna get his punches off. And he's gonna throw punches inside the pocket, outside the pocket. You throw anything, he'll kind of slip, duck, and loop. Like he's a very tricky fighter and a very annoying fighter to fight against. But like I said, man, Lamont Roach, the whole time he was just catching him with jabs, picking his shots, and kind of like being like a little sniper in a sense, because the lead check hook was there for Lamont Roach all night. The lead check hook was just like anytime he wanted to throw it, he had it. So the check hook was really working for Isak Cruz, and he also actually caught Isak Cruz bad off balance. He ends up looping in and kind of doing a step off check hook, catches Cruz when he's looping in for a punch, and Cruz gets knocked off guard, knocked off balance. And you can see from round 6 on to the end of the fight, Lamont Roach was starting to get his traction and he was starting to get his momentum up. And you can kind of see in the fight, like Cruz was kind of wearing off. Like he was getting worn out, he was getting worn down, and he'll come out, like I said, he'll come out heavy and he'll come out fast in the first couple of rounds. But once you start to see him slip, and once you start to see him slow down, then that's when the pressure, you got to apply the same pressure that he was applying to you, or else he'll just feel like he can bully you the whole time. And Lamont Roach is one of the best fighters at not letting you bully him. He will not let you bully him, and I feel like that's one of the things that it's kind of annoying to. It's one of the annoying things to fight when you're fighting against Lamont Roach. It's one of it's super annoying to fight against because he'll always hit you with those jabs. Those jabs will always be there, and his jabs. Look, if you watch the way he throws his jabs, I know they sting. I know those jabs sting, and I know those check hooks stung him as well. But I feel like Issa Cruz is like he's one of those bullheaded fighters that he just won't stop. He'll just keep coming, and you just gotta like you gotta stop that. Like you gotta stop him in his tracks. You gotta meet him where he's trying to meet you at, because if you don't, then you'll just keep trying to play the jab game and being on your back foot, and he'll never be on his back foot. And if you can't get him on his back foot, then you've already lost the fight. And that's what Lamont Roach was able to do. I feel like he did that very well. From round seven, round seven was really a pivotal round for Lamont Roach, and it really started to throw the fight in his favor. And you can kind of see it, man. Cruz was getting on his back foot, and he was trying to fight Lamont Roach how Roach was fighting him, and he wasn't coming in with his bullheaded Mexican style anymore. He was kind of like trying to pick his shots and get out the way. And that was just a testament to how Roach fights, man. He, like I said, he will not let you get him out of his comfort zone, and he won't let you get him, out of his rhythm. Like he's just gonna stick to his guns, and he's gonna stick to what he knows how to do. And that's just the true embodiment of a professional fighter to me. It really sucks that they keep giving him these draws. You can tell that the crowd wasn't really feeling Lamont Roach. The crowd was really just there for Issa Cruz. And it's kind of one of those things that you always have to deal with. Me being a fighter myself, I've definitely been in those situations to where I've fought somebody and you can just tell that the crowd is there for the other guy. And it's just one of those, it's just a part of the game, man. Sometimes it's just a part of the game. You can't really change that factor. Like you can't, go against, everybody's there. Everybody's paid money to see one kind of person. So like I said, it's almost like you're fighting your opponent and you're fighting the fans too as well. You got to fight against both of those guys. But like I said, man, I really don't agree with the draw. I just don't agree with it. I feel like Lamont Roach did exactly what he needed to do from round seven on to the end of the fight. He took round two, and then he had another round where he got a 10-8 round. And I feel like from round seven on, he was winning the fight. So I just honestly do not think how I can't fathom how one judge scored the fight 115 to 111 in Cruz's favor. But, that's boxing politics. I've heard boxing politics can be even worse than MMA politics in the UFC. So it's just one of those things to where you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. It really sucks because I think Lamont Roach is a very great prospect. He's one of the best prospects that we've seen in the past year or so. And he's just not really getting his fair shake, man. He ain't getting his fair shake at all. And it kind of sucks, but it's like I said, it just comes with the territory, man. But he's definitely got his respect. I don't think anybody looked at him any different tonight. I think they looked at him the same way that they did with Gervonta Davis fight. He's a dog, man, and it's always been that way. It's always gonna be that way. I'm interested to see who he fights next. Now that he's in the 140 division, there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys in the 140 division that he can get his hands on. I mean, I don't know about the Ryan Garcia fight. I don't know if that's a fight that he should take just because I don't know that it does anything for him. Maybe he runs it back with Javante Davis. They were supposed to run it back, but Davis tried to, finesse the Jake Paul fight. So, who knows how his career will end up because he's got some legal troubles that he has to deal with. So there's a lot of great fights at 140. I mean, Devin Haney is a fight that's kind of interesting that I would want to see him fight. And who else? That like look, there's a lot of guys, man. Boxing is so much deeper than the UFC. UFC, you got styles make fights, but boxing it's really a whole different level when you get to these matchups and who fights who and how many champions there are. It's like a million different weight divisions. It's like a million different championship belts, and it's one of those things to where it sucks he got the draw, but like I said, man, I don't think Lamont Roach. I don't think he lost any respect from anybody that already respected him. So, he can keep his head up, man. Keep his head up. As long as he keep his head up, keep his head on straight. Keep training, keep putting in that hard work, man. Something else gonna shake for him. I think the next fight, it's just one of those things, man. You gotta see what you can do to knock those guys out because they won't give it to you. We've seen a lot of bad decisions and a lot of questionable decisions from these judges. And like I said, boxing can be shady just like the UFC can be. So, let me know how y'all feel about that fight in the comments. Let me know who y'all think Lamont Roach should fight next. Should he run it back with Issa Cruz, run it back with Javante Davis, or should he look for other fights, man? Like if let me know how y'all feel about it in the comments, man. So, look, we just gonna go ahead and wrap it up from there. We will see y'all on the next one. We're gonna get back to these Christmas movie reviews. So I got Bad Santa 2 coming up next, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, man, a lot more stuff coming, man. A lot more stuff coming. So I want to say always stay safe, stay blessed, and as always, stay dangerous. Stay in the man. I appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all on the next one, man. Holla at y'all.